bit of time.
Yeah,
But
let's see how we get for the next one.
So let's see what happens here. We're not going to give
Pour
the
right into
U.S. short shrift. And believe me,
no.
I felt like adding something to this reading, but I did not. I just wanted to see how January was going to go for the U.S., but for various reasons.
So now we're going to do the U.S.
Yes.
Alrighty.
But we'll just let that go and just see in general what's happening and see what comes up.
And reminding everybody that we are at approximately 6:30, going on 7 p.m.
January
1st. So this will probably hit the waves later tonight, the next couple of hours. I just need to do my post-production work. And maybe people will want to look back at some of our previous prediction work on the playlists. Oops, something fell there.
Yeah, my cards keep bending and dropping.
It just dropped. That didn't bend. It was the Knight of Pentacles.
Money. Well, the U.S. might get back some money. We'll see. Hey, did we get our stimulus checks yet? Did we look? I don't think so. I'd be surprised if we got them on New Year's Day. Yeah, you can cut. I'll get the next one. All right. So the general theme or focus for the U.S. in the year ahead. Oh. Okay.
It makes sense.
You have the Three of Swords reverse, upright. Upright. And then we have the King of Pentacles, upright.
No, that's reversed.
I'm sorry. You know, did I get up on the wrong side of the bed this morning? I've been doing this a lot in this reading. So the Three of Swords reversed, there's sorrow. You know, it looks to me, you know, obviously December was a bad month. The hospitals are still overrun. I think January, February are going to be bad months still. I feel like we're, you know, and I didn't want to necessarily bring this to the pandemic level yet because I didn't draw that card, but I think we are reeling from our losses. And this could be losses of jobs, loss of financial stability and well-being, and let's throw that King of Pentacles in here. So I feel that people have lost a lot, whether it's family members, whether it's financial. It's a bad place to be right now.
From the point of America and what it is facing in this sort of abstract idea, it feels it's been separated from everybody else. It's sort of alone. It is emotionally alone, bearing great wounds. And so even if people individually say they don't give a damn about what the people in France or Japan think about us, from that world point of view, we think about in that abstract, America is separated from the rest of the world and feels pain and sorrow because of this. We're alone. There's no one that can help us.
Well, it's true. We are isolated more and more. After all, Canada shut their borders to us. So,
and this is that has nothing to do with the pandemic necessarily.
Exactly.
So then we have the King of Pentacles reversed, and so this is also America in this year ahead. What's affecting it, and this is a lack of good leadership. So that's all I'm going to say is just that's this feeling about America is that things are not really being governed well, or things are not working well from the ideas of prosperity.
Right. I just feel there's financial mismanagement and also the fact that people have lost their livelihoods. They've lost homes, they've lost property, they've lost money. And how can you manage in that environment? So you're not going to be at your peak. So, all right.
Nope.
Yeah, that's right. Whoops. So what does the pandemic have for us? Well, let's add the partner into the mix. The Queen of Pentacles, and she is reversed as well.
So the pandemic's effect has caused a lot of things to stagnate to the point that things that maybe could be worked on more for whatever needs, not just necessarily healthcare's needs with dealing with the pandemic, but all the concerns of, a country could be addressed, but they're not because there's just this stagnation. Due to various forces, there's nothing coming into the country that can stimulate. There's nothing within the country that can stimulate. That's what a pandemic does because of the quarantine. There is no stimulatory actions happening that could bring things into life, which is what the Queen of Pentacles normally can do.
Well, I feel with the Queen of Pentacles reversed with the pandemic that there is no clear path forward, there is no clear thinking about what needs to be done. I feel that we are stretched very thin with our patience, with our ability to nurture and take care of each other, because we have not just the people getting ill around us, we have people who are losing everything. And no safety nets for that. We have a lot of wealth out there, but it is not being distributed. And so what's happening is it's almost like every man for themselves here. And that's what I'm kind of feeling.
Do you pull it or do me? I guess you're going to pull it. So what brings us together?
Survival. Survival brings us together. So I guess, when things get the darkest, maybe people start coming around. But I don't know how bad it has to get before we recognize that we need each other in order to survive. It can't be one man is not going to live without everybody else. So it's silly for us to keep thinking that. We have to think of everybody collectively and our value in the society to making society function.
So in a way, because this was talking about how America feels about itself, that it's alone and that it's lost so much, and then balancing it against the reality that, yes, there is a great loss. There is no spark of life going on here. These are the things people have to say. One is the other is the one. It's now creating a feedback loop. And in order to survive, people have to figure that out and figure out how to break that chain.
I mean, the elephant, even if you want to avoid talking about it, the elephant in the room is the pandemic. And so this is a general reading for the U.S., but it's really clear by the way that these two cards even fell that it is talking about the impact of the pandemic on everyday life in America. So, all right. So the second question is the financial outlook. And I think we got a little bit of that in the first reading, but let's see what else it can say. Maybe it can give us some hope of some uptick.
So for 2021, what is the financial outlook? What are the situations, influences, kind of sort of stuff happening for the
kind of
environment?
sort of stuff. Whoops, I did that.
The kind of sort of stuff. And once again, we're using two decks by M.J. Cullinane, the Unique Artist. We are using the Grey Malkin Tarot for the general reading. And then for the additional card is coming from the recently released Urban Crow Oracle. And we are really happy to be using those. They're exciting deck.
Okay, so the first card. This is economics. Holy cow. Okay, and the second card. Let me get them out together. Wowzers. So, we have the Seven of Swords upright. We have the Nine of Wands, and the Nine of Wands is reversed. So, I guess, sure.
I'd like to address the Seven of Swords because I know that there have been some attempts to modify some of the ideas about this card. But I'm going to go back to the old school and just say that there's bad things afoot in the economy and that they are deliberate and or malicious, and that clever people maybe are taking advantage of situations or are using their cunning to seek their advantage.
I do not think that that's old school, Mr. O. I just think that is part of the umbrella that is the Seven of Swords. And I've always had trouble with this card. And I see what you're saying completely here. Let's couple that with the 9, though, because, see, I feel they do fit together. I feel that we are... economically, we are in disarray. We are not prepared to continue, how should I say this, continue this pandemic. I mean, operating under this pandemic world. It's like we haven't prepared, and so therefore people are trying to grab what they can. They're trying to look after their own interests. They're trying to be deceptive. They're trying to tell people everything's going to be okay. And really, clearly, it's in disarray right now. We are not prepared to keep going another, say, 6 months the way we have been. And I get the feeling that's kind of what it's saying here.
The words in my mind are poorly prepared. That it's not just that there's no preparation, but that the preparations that are impact negatively.
Yeah.
They don't help. They actually may make things worse.
How fast is the virus go, or the vaccine going out? Is it going out to the right people? And will it in the end ultimately help us jumpstart the economy again? Because that's what this reading's about, the economy. So are we prepared to move forward in the direction we need to? Or are there sneaky things that are going to happen? Is there going to be a black market for the vaccine, for example? Are people who aren't supposed to be getting it going to move ahead of others? There's lots of questions here, I think, with that. And ultimately, it was this way. I just wanted to see what it said. Oh, with the pandemic, we have the moon, and the moon is upright. I think this pandemic, the results of this pandemic, I have to go because yes. Oh, I said upright, didn't I?
Yeah.
It's reversed. And this really threw me for a great loop here because I feel that a lot of things are going to be revealed about some of the machinations going on here. Just why can't we get our acts together? Just why is the economy the way it is? Why can't we help small businesses out? Why can't things move in a positive direction with all the wealth the world has to offer?
But
Banshee, it's going to be revealed.
This is about the virus, though. It's not about those things.
But yes, it
That's
is.
the economy, right?
Right. And how the virus impacts on the economy.
Oh, are you talking about disaster capitalism?
No, I'm not.
Well, I could be.
Well, you will.
The idea that people are going to be using the virus to profit.
So basically, well, either way, it's going to be revealed. And so what I was trying to say, as he's gotten me on a tangent here, is that basically the pandemic, this is how it impacts. It is opening our eyes to these types of behaviors that have been going on. Your disaster.
The predatory aspects of our economy here, taking advantage of the situations that COVID has brought to us.
So see, I was in sync with you.
You always are.
You just didn't let me get there.
I always do. Not let you get there.
We always, as we jockey for position here. Oh, we must do the last card for the economy. Oh, I don't know here. Come on, give us a sign of life.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what... We do need to know what the linkage is between this. Let's face it. Mm-hmm.
It's on you to find out, Mr. O.
I really want to know. Luck. Oh, interesting.
Fate and luck. You know, we need some of that.
So maybe what links these things, and this is for the year ahead, America's economy and the context
Excuse me.
around it, and then what the virus has to do with any of that. The idea is that maybe luck will make it possible for the economy to not totally crash, because we sort of see these aspects very likely to happen, or that luck will make it possible to level the playing field so that the wrongdoers who are taking advantage of this will be revealed per what this card said. So yes, I like that, that maybe the people that are being sneaky and trying to make profit through some stroke of luck will be revealed. No?
I didn't say that. So basically, if you look at this, I feel that luck is definitely what we need here. It's a stroke of luck. And I feel that maybe there will be this occurrence with the pandemic or the virus, maybe some breakthrough. Some breakthrough that could, turn things around. But also, I'm looking at it in terms of this revelation on all of this. And I get the feeling that what this means is luck is about other things too. It's about fate and it's about karma in a way too. And I get the feeling that, it's going to come due. And this pandemic is going to reveal a lot about ourselves as Americans and a lot about, this kind of predatory economic behavior that is not in our best interests as a
And
society.
certainly another generation, a generation that still has a lot of us here, would not really say, oh, that's a good thing, because we weren't brought up that way.
So we're on the social outlook now. I don't know if I was supposed to shuffle first. I think I was, because you cut this time, I think. I could be wrong. It may not matter. Okay, so we know that the U.S. in this last year, and I think that's probably one thing we had in our predictions from last year, was that we were just a mess socially, a lot of social unrest and upheaval, and people not getting along. And I really do think, although I seem to remember last year, one of our predictions said there'd be some great joy at the end of the year. And of course, some people were happy with the election results, some were not. And also, there was some joy that the vaccines finally have come about and are being released. So socially. We have the Six of Wands, and the Six of Wands is reversed. We have the Ace of Swords, and the Ace of Swords is upright. Hey, I got those right. So, I love that Ace of Swords, because just look at that. There's a sword balancing on this cat, or it looks like it. And I mean, it just looks like such perfect balance and alignment. And
There's
what
a
do you
new
have to say?
beginning here, and I think some of it comes in the wake of looking at how the culture, the society, the social order has really left a lot of people feeling like they don't get anything, that they actually suffer here. They don't feel any kind of victory. They sort of feel defeated. And I think what's going to happen is that the new beginning that may be suggested within this year is more about finding a role for people always to have an order, a sense of an order, i.e. the idea that we have too many people who don't have enough to do, who are sitting around doing nothing and, just accumulating the worst ideologies within themselves and hanging around with the worst influences. And I know we can't really solve all that, but maybe new social orders that begin will start to recreate a sense of pride or undergoing, that more people will feel like, okay, this is maybe the way forward, is not with what felt like we were being defeated, everything else that was going on in society, but something new that shows up, something new.
I feel we feel our failure, we realize we have failed. And I mean, it's very easy to wallow in this kind of feeling, but I think out of this sense of failure, maybe we're starting to recognize that the separation that has been between us has been so toxic and has led to these abysmal failures that we're experiencing. And so I think that the Ace of Wands or Swords is telling us that, it's a return, a beginning of a time of more objectivity and balance and harmony is going to happen. People are going to start wielding their thoughts more constructively as opposed to destructively, and trying to find some common ground, some middle ground where we can approach things more harmoniously and we can turn defeat into victory.
But that's what I said.
In a lot of words.
Oh.
That took wait a minute, how long did I take?
Who's counting? Okay, that's not the card you pull.
I want to pull it. No, go ahead.
And so this is the pandemic effect on that. And it is the Three of Wands. And it's sort of saying maybe there's just a lot of things that people are going to have to wait for, that even despite the fact that there's a lot of good planning going on, and maybe that's really what the point is that people will start to relearn the value of planning and patience, waiting for the seed to grow, waiting for the ship to come in. So what the pandemic is teaching people is that from the social point of view, maybe it's okay to slow down and figure it out more completely and have it planned better.
So it looks like from the social point of view, we are being forced to wait a little longer before things can really turn to a normalcy again in our social interactions. I kind of agree with everything else he said, and I think I'm just magnifying that part of it, is I feel that we may just have to wait a little longer before we can return to more normalized social relations. Yeah.
So what ties this together?
Did you pick the card last time? I'll let you pick it again.
I think I did.
I'll pick the last one. All right. What ties it together, Mr. O? What? No.
Kind of neat.
That is kind of neat. And
Protection.
I think this is magnifying to me that COVID is not going away overnight, people. And we still need to protect each other. We need to realize it's not going to be a return of normal for a while yet. And we need to dialogue more constructively and build, better working relationships so we can turn the defeats of the past into victories in this present year. I just keep thinking, for some reason, I know this is in this year, and really, we are still failing. 2021 is here. We're doing this on January 1st, and we realize that this month ahead is not going to be easy.
We got some failing to do yet.
So, but we're going to see that we need to work together and start protecting each other, because ultimately, our infrastructure relies on us.
And that's the total infrastructure. That's not just buildings. That's literally the network of society, which is what...
Well, that's what I mean. When we talk about, we tend to get so corporate speak, but infrastructure, to me, should be used in human terms as well, because we are the infrastructure of all of this. We built this city. We built this nation.
So now, are we on the last one, or is there...
We are. We are on the environmental outlook for the U.S. And boy, it was a rough year in the U.S. last year. Horrible fires. How many hurricanes hit land? It just has been crazy.
Flooding, all kinds of stuff.
Let's see what's going on. And all of this plays into the environment and climate. Sorry, we're so serious today. We're taking this very seriously.
This is pretty comprehensive for us. So we have our 2 cards, and this is, what was this again? We're so serious, right?
It's basically, this is the environment. So this is the focus on the environment in the year ahead. And so basically
The King of Swords.
The King of Swords.
Reversed.
And the High Priestess again has come up. Reversed. Wow.
And we know what that's meant before.
I feel that there is just not good decisions being made in regard to the environment. We are just doing things on a more, how should I say this, material level than a spiritual level. We are not thinking in terms of the greater good of our planet, our country, our land, and there's some bad stewardship.
Literally no direction on purpose, literally ill direction, literally malfeasance, in my opinion, in the overall context.
Which is interesting because we have a change in regime, but I'm still seeing more of the same.
Too much other interest beyond science, which is what I said before, that this sort of represents a negation of science on a more mundane level. I mean, we can always talk, of course, and we did before, about it was the spiritual level, but it can also speak to the level of actual wisdom that could be considered scientific.
I didn't do this with the world one, but I'm looking here and I'm thinking maybe I should say something about, predictions for kind of weather patterns or different kinds of environmental disasters. I feel here, the one thing I will say that I see is that I feel that there may be some things that we, again, that just happen in my mind out of the blue. And the weather, I feel like there's going to be some sudden events that occur. When I see the swords, I just think of swift cutting. I think in terms of just an unpreparedness in a way, or just taken off guard, like you just didn't see it coming, you didn't predict it coming. So I'm sort of looking that way. Do you see anything there, Mr. O?
So what does the pandemic
Oh, you're just moving on. Okay.
Oh, no, I agree totally with you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Judgment reversed. And of course, this is saying failure to learn something from the pandemic, failure to grow from this.
It's a failure to grow from this. And, it's interesting because I didn't want to do a pandemic card with the environment because I didn't see how it fit. But the reason we have a pandemic is because of the way we treat our environment and farming and animals and all of that. So I think that plays into why we have a pandemic. So, it seems like we just keep on keeping on making some of the same mistakes, and there's karma attached to that.
Some people feel, and I'm just going to cross the streams between these two a little bit, but some people feel that the High Priestess upright and the Judgment upright relates to factors about religiosity and spirituality, that this is like the sense of divine feminine wisdom. Mm-hmm. And then Judgment, the idea of grow or no. And so I'm sort of seeing this with this idea here that maybe, and I've heard this said in some spiritual quarters of the world, that this is kind of like the spirit of the planet saying, I give you this because there's just too much of you and it's too much. So now we're going to see what links these.
Some of the cards are mixed up. I don't know how that happened. I just saw something.
You mean, oh.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what happened.
Up there they are.
Think of all the fun you can have.
There's just a few of them. Well, why don't you fan it for me, and I'm going to close my eyes and pick one. Just fan them, even if they're the wrong way. I am not looking.
I'm putting devil horns behind your head.
I am going blind.
Now I'm really going to put devil horns behind your head.
Wow. I don't know. We're talking about the environment, and what card do I get? Waterproof.
Oh, that was one of the cards I only briefly looked at.
So that's really interesting to me because does this mean we're going to have a lot of flooding events and things like that? Does it mean that, we do have a lot of moisture lately, I will say. But also, waterproof is also protecting things, you're protecting things. So I think what ties us together is saying we really need to be better stewards of our environment than we are.
Well, even though this isn't exactly the case scientifically, because we know the opposite is also true, but water is cleansing on a spiritual level.
But why are we waterproofing then?
Well, maybe we are resistant to some of that.
Gotcha. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get you on that one. I actually wanted to look this one up just to see what they said about it. And so the crow feathers have a greasy protective coating that prevents water from getting through to the skin. You too have the ability to create a waterproof exterior. When we are waterproof, we are protected from others' draining emotions that can weigh us down. Being waterproof allows you to experience a storm without letting it hold you back. And so that's just it. How do we protect things and protect the environment? Our focus needs to be on protecting it more. And actually, what's really sad about this, Mr. O, is I think that we're probably going to be spending a lot of time, I think, in this next year protecting ourselves from environmental disasters.
Well, I also feel, too, that this sort of goes to the idea that we're mostly on our own with this, that there's no real direction from our government on this, and that a lot of us...
Well, I see that with this. Yeah,
a lot of us are just going to have to be learning how to find our way through the travails of some amount of infrastructure insecurity.
Wow. So this was quite the marathon reading. Maybe we have to consider by dividing them up into two. But I'm really hoping you got something out of this reading, this special reading for the U.S. and the world predictions. And we thought we'd give it a stab with the Oracle deck, and I think it went well, Mr. O, as far as that went.
We were delighted to do this. We really have in our mind a calling for this idea about the larger than life events. We work hard at trying to frame the questions objectively, and she's much better at than me, but she's pretty good at pulling me back on track, so I do like that. So thanks again for watching us.
Grudgingly at times, pulling by the hair. Oh, you have no... Oh, no.
That wasn't in the cards, was it?
You can take some of my hair. I have plenty.
You have plenty to spare.
So, and I have too much and too little. Here we are. So we hope you enjoyed this show today, and stay tuned for more in this regard. Maybe we'll have to do something a little bit more specific on where we're going with this darn pandemic. But for now, at least this gives us some idea that I think, a good part of next year, we're still dealing with the fallout.
All right, so that's TFT Tarot for today, Divine Dabblings.
With
Oberon.
And me, Banshee.
Same.
So take care and try to have a happy 2020 on. And remember, we're in it right with you. Take care, everybody. Goodbye for now.